In 2011, we have still not overcome many of the challenges that impelled Robert Kennedy to action. And we still have far too many children in desperate need of our help, especially those who have experienced and who have witnessed violence. Now, throughout my life and career, I have seen the devastating effects that violence can have on young people. And I have learned that exposure to violence early in life, as a victim or as a witness, often has devastating long-term consequences, including increased odds for depression, substance abuse, and violent behavior into adulthood. Now, as Attorney General, and above all, as the father of 3 teenage children, I am determined to help find the solutions and to forge the partnerships that we need to prevent and to combat children's exposure to violence. Now, in thinking about this work, I am reminded of a question that Robert Kennedy asked in 1967 when he traveled to the Mississippi Delta. After stepping into a dilapidated shack, he came upon a young boy. And repeatedly he tried to talk with this child. But his words were met with a blank, almost lifeless gaze. And although that little boy had been born in the most powerful and affluent nation on earth, he had been silenced by hunger, by overwhelming need, by desperation, by hopelessness. With tears in his eyes, Robert Kennedy turned away from that child and he famously asked, and I quote, "How can a country like this allow it?" Unquote. Today, his words remain before us. And that question, how can a country like this allow it, is still being asked because people like you are still asking it. You and other children's advocates, community leaders, elected officials, and concerned citizens nationwide are challenging our nation to confront indefensible conditions as well as persistent, complex challenges. And you are calling on every American to stand up for the values that have made our nation great and for the young people now in need of our help. And I am proud to stand with you. I believe that our country will be defined and its future will be determined by the support that we provide and the doors that we open for our children. In looking toward and planning for this future, we do not have a moment to waste. In fact, in many communities, the problem of youth violence has reached crisis proportions. Today, the majority of America's children, more than 60% of them, have been exposed to crime, abuse, neglect, and violence. We know that patterns of violence can take many forms, from pushing, hitting, and bullying to witnessing or experiencing gun, knife, gang, domestic, or sexual violence. And they aren't limited to any one region, any one community, or any one demographic group. Exposure can happen at home, in the streets, during school, or on the internet, where children face serious and unprecedented threats. But as the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps has proven, it is possible, and it is within our power to help the kids who need us most. So long as I am Attorney General, I pledge that protecting our children from violence will remain a top priority for me, for the Justice Department, and for this administration at the cabinet level. I am proud that today's Justice Department has made an historic commitment to this work. Through our Defending Childhood initiative, we are directing resources for the express purpose of reducing childhood exposure to violence. And by playing a convening role in the National Youth Violence Prevention Forum, we are assisting teams of community stakeholders and leaders in selected cities across the country, including Boston, in implementing comprehensive, research-based violence prevention and reduction plans. But the simple truth is that government cannot do it alone. In addition to your continued leadership, partnership, and guidance, we need your help to apply the lessons that we've learned, like the fact that enforcement, prosecution, and incarceration, while key components in our fight to ensure public safety, are merely pieces of the larger puzzle for addressing and for eliminating youth violence. We need your help to develop and to implement violence prevention and intervention strategies, to launch new after-school and summer job programs, and to build the adult support necessary to expand opportunities for achievement, contribution, and public service. We also need your help to reach out to both parents and children, to provide teachers, civic leaders, and public health officials with up-to-date information about youth violence trends and indicators, and to train lawyers and law enforcement officers to respond more effectively when violence occurs. Now, of course, as Robert Kennedy often pointed out, the world cannot be changed overnight. But like him, we must have faith that the progress we seek is not beyond our reach, not beyond our capabilities or our lifetimes. So I look forward to working with you all to advance the goals that we share and to honor the promise that, with his deeds and words, Robert Kennedy made to our nation's children. This promise of peace and security, of hope and opportunity, and above all, of justice is now ours to keep. So let us seize this precious moment. Let us fulfill this sacred obligation. And let us do everything within our power to fully and finally make gentle the life of this world. Thank you.